Hey everyone, and welcome back to this class, Deep Reinforcement Learning, Deep Learning in Python Part 7. In this lecture we are going to implement the n-step method for mountain car. We are going to make use of the QLearning script for mountain car that we already wrote, in particular so we can just focus on the n-step parts. If you don't want to code along, although I highly recommend you do, the relevant file for this lecture is nstep.py in the subfolder mountain car. At the top we have all our usual imports. I've also imported a few things from the QLearning script. Next, I've defined my own SGD regressor. I found that for this problem, it works better than the SGD regressor from scikit-learn. This is the same implementation you saw before, except I've had to change the constructor to accept any argument. The weights are also initialized in the partial fit function, as they are in scikit-learn's SGD regressor. Next, we have the play1 function. Make note of the fact that this is more complicated than our previous play1 functions, due to the fact that we have to keep track of the n most recent rewards, states, and actions. At the top, I've initialized all the usual variables, and also a multiplier, which is used for the n-step calculation. We know that the multipliers need to be gamma to the power 0, gamma to the power 1, up to gamma to the power n minus 1, so it's best to just calculate that beforehand. Inside the loop, we sample an action and perform the action as usual, but now we also have to keep track of the state's actions and rewards. When it comes time to do the update, we need to make sure we've collected at least n rewards. We then multiply our last n rewards by the multiplier we created earlier, and then add this to the rest of the value prediction. Once we're outside the loop, keep in mind that there are still some states that haven't been updated, so we need to update those. Remember that in newer versions of Gym, the episode stops at time step 200, regardless of whether or not you reach the goal. In older versions of Gym, you just keep going until you reach the goal. So it's difficult to know whether you hit the goal or not, unless you check the documentation. The documentation says the goal is reached when the position reaches 0.5, so that's what we are checking for. If we hit the goal, then any subsequent reward can be considered 0. If we haven't hit the goal, then we have to make the assumption that we wouldn't hit the goal in the next n steps, and so we set any subsequent reward to -1. That's why I've named this variable guess rewards. After this, we have the main section, which you should be familiar with from before. Let's run this and see what we get.